Hey y'all, it's Latasha Jatar, the author of The Shoe Finally Fits, and I have found me a little ring light situation. It's my iPad, but it's gonna work as a ring light today. It might even be an app or something for that, huh? Anyhow, this gonna have to do because I'll be real dark, like you know, dim up in here. It's not a lot of light. So I told you all that I was going to come back today and let you know how I'm doing on this 21-day challenge that has no name. And all I can say is yes to everything except for the decluttering. I have not gotten that done yet, but I did get up for prayer. I did work out for 30 minutes and I jumped rope. I did the treadmill for 30 minutes, jump rope for 10. I did a little bit more sugar today than yesterday, but still less than what I was doing, which was the goal. I've been drinking water. Got my water right here. Gonna drink some more. And declutter, not yet, but I'm going to do my one bag. And I pray that I get to bed by midnight. I did last night. And I did my declutter bag last night as well, which I hadn't done when I had come on here last night. But enough of that. This is probably the last time, unless you all ask me how I'm doing on this 21-day challenge. Just know that I'm pretty much going to hit it out the park because that's what I do. Challenges that require me to just be all in and get them done for 21 days, that's easy. But the challenge that I set up for myself this time, I think, because I wanted to do something on YouTube, my spirit was calling me to begin my channel again, but I picked something easy. I didn't want to make a video or go on YouTube talking about anything that had anything to do with me and my journey. So I decided that I wanted to tell you all a little story. Um, Something I guess that I can share easily in writing, which is this particular story isn't in the book, but it is the premise of the book and the reason why I wrote the book, or one of the reasons why I wrote the book. So the book is The Shoe Finally Fits. One woman's journey to self love, one woman being me. And in a minute, y'all know, okay, maybe I'll just do it now before I have to hit my little ring light situation. So I wrote it down because I am a writer, but only for reference for my notes so that I can make sure I hit everything about this story. So, my mom passed in 2015. She was days shy of being 61. And I remember when she was when she was in hospice, and I would have the opportunity to talk to her. Um, this particular day that I'm thinking of, she could not speak back. Um, I could talk, she understood what I was saying to her, but she was no longer verbal. And I told her that, Mom, you've done everything that you needed to do, you said everything that you needed to say, and if you're tired, it's okay. We understand. And Mama got up out that bed. She had me, she couldn't speak, but she made it very clear that she wanted me to help her to get up. And as I'm telling this now, I'm thinking that Mama felt then like I feel now in saying that that wasn't true. Mama hadn't done everything that she wanted to do, and she hadn't said everything that she wanted to say. And I knew that about her. I knew that she was limited on the things that she wanted to do because she spent a lot of time doing for other people and not doing much for herself. And I realized that about her, but I didn't identify that in myself until she passed away. And when she passed, I did not expect to feel the emptiness that I felt. I felt like it was God, just the spaciousness of God. When my mother was here, though, it felt like it was the spaciousness of God, but I felt like I had a covering but my covering was gone. I felt just space. I felt like I was just floating and I was free falling, basically. Even though my father is still living and I love him very much, that's my Superman. It was an indescribable emptiness that I felt losing my mother, and my mother and I weren't very close, or what a lot of people's relationship with their mothers are, but I still felt that emptiness, just from the relationship that we did have. So when she passed away, I was in a place where I knew I needed to take care of me, and nobody else's needs were more important than my own. I actually do talk about this in the book, this part. And I took the time to take care of me because I identified, or not because, but I did identify my mother as being a people pleaser. And I didn't see that I was, but I knew I didn't want to be that. I knew that now was the time that I needed to take care of myself. And so the family would be calling on me, my immediate family, the children. My husband, not so much, but enough, okay? Enough for me to recognize these people, these people don't understand. I'm not checking for them right now. Like, they honestly are still expecting me to be how I am normally in this moment. And no, the answer is no. Like, don't even call my name if you're not bleeding or, extremely hurt in need of emergency. Don't call me. Like, I have suffered. What was I saying? I have suffered a great loss. Like, give me my time to grieve. And I remember one time I was crying, and just out of the blue. I mean, it wasn't that long after mom had passed. I don't even know if we buried her yet. And one of them asked me, I don't know which family member, why are you crying? And I'm thinking, seriously? Seriously, I have to explain. Like, why do you think I'm crying? I just lost my mother. So that's when I started to scale. The scales were becoming removed from my eyes. I have got to do better by me. I've got to take care of me because nobody else is going to do it. Like, my mom is gone. First of all, I'm a grown up, so that's my job, and my mom is gone. So I am responsible for taking care of myself, and that's what I started to do. Was it before or after? Had to have been after Mama passed. I had the opportunity to go out of the country for the very first time. And one of the excursions now all that stuff that I just talked about was not in my notes. This is really the only story that I wrote down. So I don't know where all that came from, but we just gonna let it go. So I had the opportunity to go to Dominican, and we planned to do a waterfall jump. And I don't know why I was so gung ho to sign up to jump into a waterfall because I can't swim. Like, I can float. I have the fundamentals of swimming, but without a life jacket, well, at that point, today I'm a lot better. Like, we have a membership. I swim here and there. I need to go back, but I believe if I was dropped in the middle of the ocean, I believe I could survive. But at this time, the most I could do was float. But I want to jump into this waterfall because now I'm trying to live my best life. I'm not trying to let anything hold me back. Um, let's do it. So I'm like, are we going to have life jackets? Yes. Okay. Is there going to be someone out there with me who can swim? Yes. Okay. I'm good. Let's do it. So we go. And first, we had to walk a country mile before we got to the different slides and whatnot. So it was the first one was like a little baby slide. I've been to the water parks. We sit down, put our arms over our chest, slide down, no problem. Of course, I do have to slide down into a body of water, but the life jacket has my back and it brings me to the surface. I'm cool. And then I'm actually having to move to get to the guide who helps me get against the wall or whatever, and then we continue on. Everybody jumps, we go, or slides or whatever, we go off to the next slide. This one's a little bit bigger, but again, let's do this. I know what I know what to expect now. Gonna go into some water. I'm gonna find the guide and I'm gonna live. Okay, so not a life or death situation. So I think it's rocks everywhere. I have on a helmet, but I'm not afraid. So we do the second slide, which I have video, and boom. Okay. Then we come up to, and mind you, all of this is a lot of walking before we get to each one, and we get to the third one. This one is at least 20 feet up. And I'm like, so the option they gave us was we could jump or we could slide. And when you jump, it's this cliff, and you have to go to the end of the cliff and jump. So I'm looking at the slide, I'm looking at the cliff. I'm looking at the slide, which is not really no slide, it's rocks. You like gotta sit on rocks and slide down, jump. I decide I'm gonna jump with only my life jacket. I'm gonna jump 20 feet at least. It could have been higher, but I'm gonna say at least. I don't want to put too much on the story, make it seem like I'm exaggerating. It was at least 20 feet. So the other young lady was like, I'm gonna do the slide. And I did not even know that you could also climb down the ladder. I thought these were the only two things we could do. So I get to the end of the cliff. Knees were shaking like for I've never had my knees knocked. Like I've never been so afraid that my knees were literally knocking together. That's only something that I've read. Didn't know that it was a real thing until it happened to me. So my knees are knocking. I am terrified. I don't do heights and I can't swim. So I got two things against me, but I'm determined. Living my best life. I'm all the way in the Dominican Republic. I am going to jump off of this waterfall. So I get to the edge. He gives me this little flimsy rope that I have to hold on to on this cliff. He's like, I'm gonna count when I count to three. No, he said on the count of three, you're gonna jump. Now, mind you, they speak, Spanish is their native language, but I understood him to say on count three, you're gonna jump. Did say that clearly in English. So I just nod my head because any thinking I would have done would have been like, fool, do not jump off this cliff. So all I could do was take his instructions on the count of three. You're gonna jump. So he goes one, two, three, and without even thinking about it, without even looking to see where I'm supposed to be jumping, I let go of the rope and I jumped. And I'm still here, as you can see, I survived. But in that moment, and it was so quick, but it felt like slow motion. Anybody, if you've ever done anything with adrenaline or something, it happens fast, but in my mind, it was happening slowly. I felt like I actually did a toe touch as I was going down. Um, it did. But someone was supposed to be videoing with my phone and these Apple phones. If you don't like for real hit the record button, you can miss it. And he missed it, but he did catch a picture of me at the top of the cliff, which I should make my little what you call it. My profile. I guess it's called a profile picture on YouTube. I should do that. But anyhow, it felt like I did a toe touch. Like my legs felt like they went like that, and I hit the water and I lived. I survived. The life jacket pulled me back up and I found my way some kind of way over to the rocks. As a matter of fact, one of the sisters who had been assisting me, she hadn't even gotten in the water yet. So I really had to find my way over to this rock. But I had never felt so um, full of adrenaline and exhilarated like that ever. Not even on what do you call it, roller coasters, because I'm free. Like it's just me. It's just me and the elements all together. I was not in any other apparatus other than my life jacket. So that has been like the best thing ever for me to just take that leap of faith and know that the life jacket had me. And I didn't even scream like I learned from one of my children told me, even because I hate roller coasters. But if you blow out when when the drops are happening, it's you don't feel that sickening feeling or whatever in your stomach. So when I jumped off the cliff, I did do that. And so I didn't even feel like the flutter or whatever in my stomach, but I did have an adrenaline rush like I've never had before. But I did it again last year. Went back to Dominican. Where we jumped from was probably about the same height, but this was a totally different group of guides. So they took us like the one we went to in 2017 was kind of like, these are like the real cliffs and, we out there, we in the rugged terrain type of deal. We in the jungle. In 2018, it was more, structured, like they had built some platforms that you could walk out to the edge. It was scary, but it wasn't as scary. Like, and maybe it could have been because I'd done it before, but this was like almost jumping into a pool, 2018. So it was, and it was a lot more people around too in 2018. It wasn't a whole lot of folks out there in 2017. So I had a whole lot of people who could save my life in 2018. And one of the jumps, I wonder if I still had that video, but I did one of the jumps that they did get on video, but not until I did it twice. So the first time I jumped, they didn't get it on the video. So it's important to me to have the film, the receipts that I jumped. So what I do, climb my little self back up there and jumped again because I wanted it. Actually, I probably wanted it because I ain't doing it no more. I ain't doing that one. Now I might do something in Mexico because I'm going to Mexico this year. But that was going to be my last waterfall jump in Dominican Republic as far as I was concerned. So this story, the point I think of the story is that I'm just grateful to have had the revelation that I needed to live and take care of myself. I didn't realize I wasn't doing that. And, as far as that life jacket, that analogy for me is just like we can take those leaps of faith and know that God has our back. God is always there to hold us up. So we can jump and not have to worry about are we going to be okay? Because in the end, there's a movie that I love. What is it? The Don't Start Me Lying. I'm about to tell y'all the wrong title. I can't think of it. Anyhow, the quote from the movie is in the end, basically, and I'm paraphrased, in the end, everything is going to be okay. If it's not okay, if it's not yet okay, that means it's not the end. So, as long as we have breath, we can survive anything. Um, and then it's all about our perspective too. You can change it to make it where you're okay. You might not be where you want to be, but you're going to be okay in the end. And if it's not okay yet, that means you got some more to deal with, but you're going to get there. And I am of the belief when I'm aware enough to understand what's happening that at any time I can change my perspective in the beginning, the middle, or the end because I know that in the end I'm going to get to that okay place. So I don't have to wait for everything to be resolved to be like, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. However it lands, however it turns out, it's going to be the best outcome because this is not my plan. This is God's plan. So all I have to do is trust it and understand that this process is a process that I must go through in order to get to that place. Did I choose it? No. Do I really want it? Not always. But am I going to be okay? Absolutely. Every time. So that's my story for tonight and my challenge, my 21-day challenge. But y'all probably just gonna hear about it after the 21 days that all went well. Unless you have questions, feel free to email me LatashaJatar@gmail.com. But otherwise, the content that I will be sharing with you all will be something like what I shared tonight. And hopefully, we can connect on that level. And feel free to send me any questions, comments, concerns. LatashaJatar@gmail.com. So I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.